Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Talent Talks. I'm Vaibhav Verma and I'll be your host for today's session. Now, Talent Talks is a segment of talent advocacy dedicated to bringing you relevant, insightful, and accessible legal conversations. Based in the heart of Amritsar, talent advocacy is steadily shaping a distinct presence in India's legal landscape, growing from a regional practice into a dynamic multi-jurisdictional advocate house under the leadership of our founder, Advocate Mehul Bansal. The name Talon, the claw of a bird of prey, reflects the firm's core values: tenacity, precision, and strength in every matter it takes on. Now, introducing our guest for today, Mr. Aryan Narula. Aryan is currently in his final year of BBA LLB program at the Vivekanand Institute of Professional Studies, where he has consistently stood out for his academic performance and co-curricular involvement. He now stands at the threshold of a new chapter, having secured an All India rank 27 in CLAT-PG and All India rank 28 in AILET-PG, achievement that places him among the top law graduates in the country. With these ranks, he is soon to join one of India's premier national law university to pursue his LLM and further deepen his expertise in law. Thus, in today's conversation, we'll explore Aryan's journey through law school, his preparation study for CLAT PG and AILET PG, and his mindset that actually helped him secure such stellar ranks, and his vision as he transitioned from VIPS into a leading national university. With that, let's begin this insightful discussion and warmly welcome Aryan for this podcast. Hello, Aryan. I hope you're
Firstly,
doing well.
hi Vaibhav. Firstly, thank you so much for the kind introduction. I'm really grateful I got this opportunity to share some of my insights regarding my journey for the entrance exams. So I'm very happy and excited for this interview.
So I request you to, if you're comfortable with it, would you like to start with some background like of you like childhood upbringing and your schooling and career choice and how you it led to VIPS and BBLLB?
Okay, so I was very small, like I was around 8 or 9 years old when I decided I'll do law. That was primarily because of a show named Dada, in which Ronit Roy used to star. So I used to love it. I decided I'll do advocacy particularly. Then throughout my school life, I did well in academics. Then I gave CLAT UG. I secured a decent rank, not a very good rank to like get into top NAUs, but I secured a decent rank to get into WIPS, which is one of the best Delhi law schools. Then throughout my law school, I tried to maintain a good score, CGPA, and participate in a lot of national moot court competitions, as well as doing internships. So my plan was never to like pursue LLM. It was always directly litigation since the beginning. All my internships have been litigation internships, but during this year in around July, I decided I'll do masters as well because as we know that LLM is of 1 year as well. So I decided I'll do LLM first, then I'll do litigation. So yes, that was my journey till July, and after that we'll discuss in a while.
So as you told me, your initial goal in law and your current plan as well. So shall we dive into some preparation and mindset study? Like what was your
Sure, sure.
So, what was your timeline? How did you manage planning and preparation? Like, because the schedule, it's not like as if one has to appear only after achieving their degree, their graduation. So, how did you manage with the college and semesters in between?
Okay, so basically in July when I decided that I'll prepare for entrance exams, right after that in August my ninth semester started. So as I told that in July I decided I'll do masters.
Mm-hmm.
So in August only my ninth semester started, my regular college, and I have like 100% attendance. So I used to go to college and I used to like finish my assignments, prepare for internals and all. So I didn't really get a lot of time to prepare for entrance exams in August. But around October, I decided that my internals are done and the exams were set in December only. So I decided from October I'll do like I'll spend a lot of time studying. Then I started giving like 1 or 2 hours in October, which is like not the best way to prepare for exams. Like even if I'll give you advice, I'll tell you how to prepare. But I started in around October. Then in November I sped up a lot. I covered a lot of topics, and December was merely revision plus doing recent case laws. So we'll
So, As you told me that you started preparation in between the sims only, and all like that. So, what were the like key
Yes.
resources and materials that really made some impact on your on the preparation?
Okay, so first I'd like to clear that I did not take any coaching, any mock test series, nothing. I did self-study because I believe that for the PG entrance exams, you don't need to get into any coaching center or something because there is no GK, there is no quants, there is no English, there is only and only law. So that too, law is only the subjects which you have covered in your 5 years. So it is not something which is very new to you, so you can do it yourself. Now for the sources, so I have one book. I had one book, Singles LLM Guide, which is like a 2000 page very big book, and I did not finish it, but it is a very good book which can give you like a good start for all the subjects and PYQs. So first my source was that book. Secondly, I used to like read a lot of bear acts for the smaller ones, like for example the evidence act, which is the BCA, or for other subjects like family law. So the bear acts I relied on was the second my source. Then third of like the primary sources were Telegram notes. So like there are a lot of Telegram channels wherein you'll get judiciary notes. Oh, so you'll find on your own. I won't tell you how to find them, but you'll find on your own if you search enough. So you can get judiciary notes for all the subjects. Now, the thing is that you need to prepare for MCQs. So you don't need to go into very, very depth of the subject, but you need to brush up your concepts and memorize the important case laws in the subject part. So you can rely on those notes as well. Plus, you can rely on definitely articles like I. Peters, Wabumi, etc. That should be your approach. Like, firstly, you need to like gather all the sources for the subject first. So, in short, if I can tell you, like there are two things which you need to cover for these exams. First is your subjects, which is the foundation or theory. Second is your recent judgments. Now, always remember that for this, you'll get enough sources which is basically the subjects. You'll get Telegram notes, you'll get judiciary notes, online notes, Bear Acts, and all. But for recent judgments, I'll tell you that there is no single source. You need to like get a lot of sources, at least 5 to 6 sources. For example, Supreme Court official websites, Drishti, then Priya Jan, then Law Chakra, then SEC Times, Live Law. You need to follow up with a lot of sources. And my suggestion would be if you're preparing for any CLAT PG or AILET PG in the upcoming years, do make your own notes, which can be either physically or digitally, of recent judgments, in which you have to cover at least 4 or 5 years. For example, if you're appearing in, for example, if you're appearing 2026, then at least from 2022 onwards, you need to prepare. And the reason I'm asking you to make notes is because there is no single source, as I told you. So if you do not make notes, then you won't have anything to revise from. And when the exams come, you won't know where which like all which sources to refer to. So make your own notes, and I'd suggest you can use Notion, which is basically an app which also works in your browser and all your devices. So Notion is a good app which can definitely help you level up your preparation because you can like sort out all the cases subject wise first and then all the cases alphabetically. So if you read a case again from another source, you'll know that you have covered it. So you won't waste your time. Plus, it will be very easy for you to revise. So yes, that is like the so that is like the blueprint how to prepare.
Okay, so Aryan, now we'll be diving into the core exam strategies with some FAQs that we also brushed up with our research and also collected from the people, from the our subscribers and all. So, firstly, I would like to ask your exam approach and technique regarding the legal passages because everyone knows that the legal passages of CLAT. I mean, by the time you reach to your fourth and fifth, you're exhausted. Most of them, like average student, is exhausted. What was your
Yes.
overall approach towards it?
Okay, so first you need to understand that CLAT PG has like 24 passages with 5 questions each. Now the passages in CLAT PG are way different than the passages in CLAT UG. In CLAT UG, you get like principles, the law, and then you need to apply that to answer. But in CLAT PG, you get portions from relevant judgments, which can help you or maybe cannot help you to solve answers. So your approach should always be to read the question first. Like there are 5 questions for a passage, it is highly likely that 2 or 3 of them will be answered from your own memory and your knowledge, not from the passage. So first thing you should do is first read the questions and answer them. Then only if you see any question which cannot be answered from your knowledge or your memory, then only refer to the passage. That too try to match the keywords or the phrases. For example, if there is a question regarding mortgage, there is a passage from any judgment regarding the theory of mortgage. Now, there are five questions. There is one simple question related to limitation. You can answer that without looking at the passage. Then there is one question regarding any type of mortgage. You can answer that. But let's say if there is a third question regarding a particular mortgage requirements, which you can find the keywords in the passage. Then only read those lines only. So your approach should always be to read the questions, answer, and then if you cannot find an answer from your knowledge or expertise, then only read the passages. So that is a very good way in which you can save a lot of time, because if you see the CLAT-PG 2026, which I gave, so there are passages which take up like 2 pages of the question paper. So if you start reading them, you'll spend like good 10 minutes only for 2 or 3 questions. So there is no point. So never ever read the passage first. Always read the questions, then only see if you whether you need the passage or not.
So how did you
Yes.
like if well you said that sometimes the questions are objective and you'll have to just mug up your
Yes,
muscle
yes.
memories. So what if we need to read? How then what was your approach to understanding the pattern and applying the whatever principle is then being said for the cases?
So for those, okay, so let's say that a contract based question is there, and let's say it is related to breach of contract. Now, if there is a question related to the principle of breach of contract, which I do not know, yeah, so for those questions, what my approach would be, like,
Hmm.
firstly, I'll not read the paragraph word by word. First, I'll try to find the lines wherein the relevant question can be answered from. For example, if there is a breach of contract question and the paragraph is about contract first, then breach of contract from the judgment, and then the remedies. So I'll try to find the lines which relate to breach of contract only. Then I'll see whether the question can be directly answered from it. For example, let's say that the question was in which section breach of remedy is mentioned, and the paragraph specifically mentions the section number. Then it can be answered. But let's say that the question was related to application of the principle. Then what your approach should be like, firstly, you should try to always use the paragraph lines and apply them directly. Like, for example, if the paragraph says that this section mentions this, okay, but let's say that the paragraph does not tell you clearly the answer, then what you should rely on is use your logical reasoning as well. Because in a lot of law questions, your logical reasoning can save you. For example, if a matrimonial question, for example, if a matrimonial law is concerned, then chances are that the offenses mentioned would be non-cognizable and bailable. So you need to apply your logical reasoning as well if you cannot answer from the paragraph itself. So again, you need to like make sure that you do not cross the negative marking a lot, because it is 0.25 in both the exams, AILET and CLAT. So you need to keep that in mind as well. So
Okay, so that was a really amazing take on how to address the case law based questions. Now, the current legal developments, as you also mentioned earlier, and it's a known fact that CLAT-PG, it all
mm,
often includes extensive legal developments that have been taking part. So, how did you manage your contextual awareness of those questions, those case laws, from prepping them, from mugging them up to applying if in case they come to in the questions? What was your take?
okay, so firstly, I referred, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of sources from live law, bar and bench, SCC time, Supreme Court website. So firstly, what I used to do was choose a particular month and year. For example, I started from 2023 or 2024 January. I found the judgments. Then all these sources have authentic summaries of the judgments and not the entire judgments. So, for example, I get a judgment which is, let's say, Vihan Kumar, or let's say the Aligarh University judgment. It has, let's say, 10 to 12 lines of the judgment depicting the main part of the judgment. So my approach used to be, I used to like add the case name in Notion. Then in bracket, I used to add the year. Then in another bracket, I used to mention only a few words through which I can remember the whole judgment. For example, in Aligarh University, I wrote university created by statute does not merely exempt minor status. Only this part. Then in the drop down, I used to write 3 to 4 lines max about the judgment which are relevant. So your approach should always be to know the main part of the judgment and which sections or articles or which concept is involved. Because if a question comes in the PG exams, then it would always be revolving around the concept. So if you know the concept and you know which judgment is referring to it, then even in the exam you'll remember the name. For example, there are four recent judgments mentioned in the question paper related to a particular topic. Now, if you have made your notes, if you have revised enough, if you have read the operative part, then you will be able to recollect that this judgment was referring to this topic. And let's say even if you don't remember, still the other three judgments, you'll know that whether these were related to this topic or another topic. So you can use the elimination method as well. So your approach should always be to remember the main part of the judgment in 2 to 3 lines maximum. You don't have to remember word to word judgment. You don't have to remember every single thing. You have to remember the concept, because what are judgments doing? They are basically reiterating the law or slightly modifying them at max. They are basically expanding the scope of legislature by polishing the law. But the law, the concept is static nowadays, especially because we are in 2025 and most of the laws are well developed by now. So this should be your approach to make notes, and always attach keywords to the judgment. So that way you'll know which topic is related to which judgment.
So, what was your take on mocks? What's your take on mocks? How did you approach them, and how many mocks did you did you just take? And what were the sources of the mocks? If you can, if you would be so kind to elaborate.
Okay, so one of the mistakes which I think I did was not attempting a lot of mocks. I only attempted three mocks, out of which two were previous year question papers of CLAT and AILET respectively. Plus, I got one like Vidya mock something from Telegram. So in my first mock, which was basically the CLAT-PG exam of last year, I attempted it. I Time was never a problem for me because my speed is fast. But what happened was that I attempted every single question without even caring about negative marking, and I got a very very low score, like less than 35. So then I decided that while I need to prepare for my PG exams, I need to also work on my negative marking, like risk analysis. So I decided I will not attempt every single question in the next mocks as well, and I'll try to choose only the option in which I'm sure about two or three options at max. Like if I know that one option could, like if I'm confused between two or three options, then only I'll mark. But if I'm not completely sure, if I don't even have a clue, then I'll not attempt it. So that was my strategy for the next mocks. Then in the second mock, which was basically the AILET-PG exam of last year, in that I scored like decent, which was 55 something, I guess, out of 100. So it was a decent score considering AILET. So then also like I did attempt the mocks in a gap of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because I was just starting with the prep when I started mocks. So for aspirants who are appearing for the upcoming years, you should definitely attempt, or at least set a goal to attempt 20 to 30 mocks at least throughout your preparation. And the sources will be like you'll get one or two free mocks per website or per coaching institute. Plus you can attempt PYQs like I did as mocks only. Second, second tip would be never ever ignore negative marking like I did in the initial mocks. You should always consider the negative marking. Thirdly, while analyzing mocks, you should always check all the concepts mentioned in the wrong answers as well. For example, if a question was about any concept and you chose the right answer, that does not mean like you'll mark your answer and move on. No, you need to read at least a few lines about the other concepts as well. Because if a question comes related to that concept in your exam, then you will also be aware. So this is a very good strategy to attempt a mock, but read about all the options. That will like improve your legal knowledge a lot. That gave me a lot of boost. For example, if I scored 30, less than 35 in my CLAT each exam, but then I knew that if I give next mock, I'll be well versed with a lot of new topics now. So mock should be also, if you're starting your prep, I'd recommend you to start prep in January onwards. If you're giving in December, start that year's January itself, because that way you'll be like not having a lot of things piled up during the last few months. Start mocks in April or May max. Once you're done with your subjects, as I told you, there are two parts, subjects and recent judgments. Once you're done with your subjects, or majority of it, 90% or 95%, then start attempting mocks. At least attempt one in 1 week. That will be a very good take. So start attempting mocks in April or May around when you're done with 90 or 95% of your subjects syllabus, because that would be a good start. Because don't start mocks because you lose confidence if you start right away. If you're preparing, then give 2 3 months for preparation, do well, then start attempting mocks, because mocks are like the trial battles only, but preparation is what will make you good for the final battle. So yes, you should attempt 20 to 30 mocks as per me.
All right. So, as we soared through the sectional mastery, Now I would like to I request you. I'd like to request you to address the time and question management. For instance, the sectional allocation approach. What's your take on it? And even the prioritizing the questions, because I believe you must be just skimming through the questions in beginning, but the passages are so many and they are long. So what was your approach on it?
Okay, so as we know that in PG exams there are no sections, there are passages, or in AILET there are direct questions. So firstly, you need to know is that you need to skim through the question as you rightly said. Then, like, make a small tick mark on the passages in which you know the best answers from. For example, you see a passage related to a particular topic, for example, divorce, and you know that I'll answer at least four of them. Then put a small tick on that passage. Go through the entire paper and do this. Once you're done with your paper, then start attempting your paper from those passages as only. Then start attempting your paper from those passages only. Don't look at the other passages right now. You see a passage, you do five questions, mark in your question paper, then right then only mark in the OMR sheet, because this is one of the problems faced by a lot of people always. Even my batchmates face this problem that they mark the entire question paper first, and in the end they started marking in the OMR sheet, in which they did not get the full time, and they skipped like 10 to 20 questions, which is a very very big number in the PG exams, because it shifts your rank in thousands. So do one passage, which is a good one, then right then only mark in the OMR sheet. And once you're like marked question number, let's say 17 in the OMR sheet, then put a tick on question number 17, so you know that you've marked it in the OMR sheet. You don't have to look back. Even if you've done it wrong, even if you have doubts, no, don't look back. Then move on to next question. Now, time management is a very subjective thing. You need to be very good at reading, as which it is the like most important thing. So I, what my approach was that during the half time in CLAT, I should be done with at least 65 to 70 questions out of 120. And in ELIT, it does not have passages. So in 1 hour, I should be done with at least 70 questions as well. So once you have, so once the 1 hour clock, 1 hour mark is mentioned, you should see how many questions are remaining. Because if the questions remaining are more than 60, then you're doomed. You need to like speed up a lot. Because the thing is that in the end, you should consider your last 10 or 15 minutes only as like a backup option, because in that time you will consider the questions which you have not marked. So during the first 1 hour and 45 minutes, your exam should be done. So always and always do your best questions first, mark those passages, then the remaining ones you can move on and try to be very fast in them. By 1 hour mark, you should be done with at least 60% of your questions in both the exams.
So now I'd like to ask you like something about regarding the accuracy and pitfalls. For instance, like the passage based burnout, it is real
Yes.
and it needs to be addressed. So I think I'll use this opportunity to ask you to just address this passage burnout, which happens in almost everybody. What's your take on it?
Yes. So what I can suggest or advise is basically do not get intimidated by unattempted questions. Once you are starting the paper, once the 2 hours have started, you will not get even a single second back. So if you spend time feeling tired or scared, that will only and only give disadvantage to you. So once you start attempting the questions, do not feel that I have like went through 15 questions but I've only attempted 5. No, do not feel that way. What you need to do is go through the entire paper. Once you have like marked all the questions which you know, that would be your first reading. So I call it first reading. Once your first reading is done, then you shift on to the questions which are like which you are confused about, which can either be like you're confused between two options or three options. Then look at them. But considering the passage burnout, as I said in the start is itself, do not read the passages. Do not get intimidated by it. Because in my exam, like I hardly read 2 or 3 passages out of 24, because the rest of them were like doable without even passages. So do not only focus on the question. Because see, there is a question, there is hardly one or two lines of the question. There are four options, and the answer is amongst them only. It is not a subjective paper where you have to use your mind. Even if you do not know anything, 25% is the probability, though I will not recommend you to do that. But again, you do not have to be scared or burnt out. Just relax and like just keep doing it, because there are a lot of questions you cannot even spend a single minute thinking about whether you thinking about whether you did the right thing and attempting or something. No, just mark the questions. Just be very, very fast. If you are fast enough, you will not feel the burnout, and by the time your exam is ending, you will be done with the majority of the questions.
And another thing that it's often asked, and I believe we collected it from one of our followers. It's the transition from CLAT to AILET, because the two exams, they might be similar due to the legal nature, but they're not same after all. And I believe there's a shifting from the longer passages to shorter punchy ones. So, and the gap, even the gap between the exams, it's not much, I believe. So,
Yeah.
how did you manage that transition? What was your take?
Okay. So first thing first, CLAT-PG is analytical based exam, analytical focused exam. AILET-PG is memory based and memory focused exam. Because in AILET, you are given a line, you are asked which section, which case law. In CLAT, it is less likely that those questions will be there, but the concept will be asked. So in CLAT, you need to prepare your concepts very, very well. Because if you're good with concepts, even if you do not know the exact section number of every single thing, still you'll do it. But in AILET, after your CLAT is done, you need to know is that you need to brush up on the section numbers and recent case laws. Those two things should be your priority. Because the thing is that in CLAT, you're already done with your concept. So even if any concept related question comes in AILET, you just need to revise them. But for section numbers and article numbers for specific details, you need to primarily focus on them after CLAT is done. Plus, the second thing is that in CLAT-PG there is a well-defined syllabus in which there are a few subjects like 10 or 12, but in AILET-PG there is no syllabus. You should know that AILET-PG can ask any single question related to any law. It can be a minor law, it can be a major law. CPC is not asked in CLAT directly, but it is asked in AILET, and a lot of subjects, DV Act plus limitation, a lot of subjects are not covered in CLAT, but they come in AILET PG. So one more thing you should do is that those subjects you should revise them again, and even revise when you should do them properly after your CLAT is done. Like obviously you'll do them in your preparation, but before CLAT you can skip them. For example, those subjects which were incoming in AILET in the PYQs, but not in CLAT. I did not touch them for like a week before CLAT. After my CLAT was done, I started again seeing them because for the main subjects like constitution, criminal law, they were still fresh in my mind. Only 1 week's gap was there. But regarding the subjects which are only in AILET, I brushed them up again. Plus, I focused on reading index a lot because what you can do is the main subjects you can revise the index because index has the title of the section marginal note, so you can also get an idea of the section plus section number because those questions are asked a lot. So that should be your approach, that you should shift your approach from concept based to one which involves specific details like section numbers or case recent case laws, names and all. So that should be your approach.
All right, now we'll be moving on to some classic rapid fire question and answers. So
Okay.
I'll be throwing some questions which are definitely relevant, and you can try answering them in as with as precision and sharpness as possible. All right.
Okay.
All right. So we'll begin now in three, two, one. One key strategy that made the biggest difference.
Consistency.
One biggest weakness during preparation and recovery method.
Not doing enough mocks.
One habit that dramatically improved accuracy.
Using sticky notes to cover daily tasks.
One mistake aspirants should absolutely avoid.
Ignoring negative marking.
One thing most aspirants focus on that actually doesn't matter. It's a hot take now.
Studying very much in depth of about the concepts.
What did you stop doing that genuinely effectively improved your scores?
Being scared of not attempting a lot of questions.
All right, and the last one. Is coaching really necessary or overhyped?
Definitely overhyped.
So the rapid fire went exceptionally well, and now we'll move on to some more preparation methods and your take. So, what does real revision looks like to you, and as compared to what the educational influencers and the cliche ones, they claim that this might be effective. And what's your take on it? What was your way, Manna?
I think that for someone who does not have any like mentor or who cannot like there are people who cannot do things on their own. For them, these people can be helpful. They can show you a light, they can show you some starting point. But always remember that for exams, entrance exams, competitive exams, you need to rely on yourself the most. You need to prepare yourself first. You cannot rely on these YouTube videos of subjects. Nah, that won't help you. Like if you see that the same thing happened in AIB this year because I gave AIB as well. A lot of people relied on YouTube content, these influencers, and the fail rate would be the highest because they did not study themselves. So you can rely on them, you can take some lead, you can take some cues, but never ever substitute anything for your self study. Even if you are doing any classes from any coaching center, but always keep self study as your priority.
Question I placed before you in the beginning regarding the demotivation and how people must address and handle self doubt with this stress management in a way. So what's your take? How did you come up and how would you, definitely you're an individual, but how would you suggest an average law student to overcome it?
Firstly, stress is very normal, and if someone has read about stress in psychology, they'll know that some amount of stress is good to stress basically. So stress is inevitable. It cannot be done away with. What you can do is, as someone who is preparing for any exam, do not completely make your life about that exam only. Keep good things, keep your friends, keep your games, keep your movies. I did everything. Okay, do not spend like 15 hours, 14 hours. No, especially not for CLAT-PG or AILET-PG. You do not need to spend those many hours. You are good with 3 or 4 hours. So always and always keep some sort of entertainment which does not consume a lot of your time, but does not at the same time hamper your progress as well. For example, do not indulge in anything or any sort of activity which can be like playing for 10 hours or something. No, do not do that as well. You can keep like, I'll study for 2 hours, then I'll play a game or I'll listen to music for half an hour. That is fine. But do not do this like, I'll study for 2 hours, then I'll play game for 10 hours. No. So for stress, what you can do is keep a source of entertainment, keep multiple sources of entertainment. It is okay. Plus, try to avoid social media, especially during the exams time, like when you have 1 or 2 months left, because social media is something wherein, especially like even like places like LinkedIn, wherein you will see people posting about internships, achievements, and all. Then you might compare yourself, and comparison is the killer of joy, as we all know. So what you can do is take your time of social media. Either deactivate your social media, or if you do not want to go into that extreme, what you can do is like reduce your screen time for those apps, put a app lock or something. Next thing about self faith or self belief is that always know, if you will prepare enough, you will get good marks, and even if you do not, always keep a plan B ready. For example, let's say you want to go to NLU Bangalore, you need to secure top AIR 30 or something in CLAT, or you want to go to NLU Delhi, you need to secure AIR 30 in AILET-PG. Now, always remember that self faith, self confidence does not change or does not have an impact if you have a good plan B. Always prepare, always hope, always do work to achieve your goal, but keep a plan B ready for you. For example, if you're preparing and you are having doubts, then no, know that if you do well enough, if you prepare strategically, if you plan things in a good way, if you keep small targets instead of just saying that I'll cover the entire class syllabus in 1 month, no. Instead if you make plan like I'll do 2 subjects this week or stuff like that, then know that you will feel more confident naturally. Attempt mocks, attempt all the PYQs, you will feel more confident. Then again, as I said, keep a plan B ready. For example, if you're not getting into a top NAD or if you're not getting into any Delhi, don't worry. Keep a backup ready for any other state university or any other central university. There are a lot of good colleges. Plus, especially for PG, if I say, the college does not really matter a lot because all the placements and all are focused on UG students as well only. Because all the placements and things are focused on UG students primarily. So PG college does not matter a lot. Even for UG, I always say that. Even for UG, college does not matter in law. So always know that. what is the worst thing which could happen? You will not get a very good rank. No worries. Take another college. No worries. Prepare for anything else. It is okay. Especially for LLM is not a necessary condition for judiciary or litigation, even for corporate. So yes, that would be my take. To have confidence, prepare well, and just rock the exams.
Perfect. It was genuinely perfect. So now, as we move almost towards our conclusion of the session, I request you to, take your time to for any personal reflection, maybe, anything you experience in childhood or anything in your lodge school journey. So any, it might be a person learning some informational insights or any emotional moments, anything that just you might be willing to express anything. You can even sing a song.
uh, I'll not torture your viewers, but yeah, I'll definitely tell you a moment that when I got into law school, as I said, that WIPS is one of the best law schools in Delhi.
Indeed.
So I was very happy that I got into a good law school. Plus, it is in Delhi. I'm from Delhi, so I don't have to travel to any other city. But during the during the second half of this year, as I said that in July, I decided to do masters. So I decided in my mind that most probably I'll move out because apart from NLU Delhi, every NLU is in another state. So I decided I'll move out. So I told my family, my friends that I will move out next year. But the thing is that once I even cracked NLU Bangalore, once CLAT score came in, then it hit me like, no, I don't want to go actually, because that will take a lot of time for me to settle up there, then start a completely new life. Then I will not be able to litigate as a advocate, and a lot of things came in my mind. So yes, then I just prayed that I secure NLU Delhi, which I did. So one thing I can only say is that always keep hope, and I kept hope even after like clearing CLAT. I kept hope for NAU Delhi for AILET, and it worked. So always, I would suggest. A lot of people do not believe, but have faith in yourself. Plus, manifest 1111. You can call it anything, but yes, do I will say that do believe in some higher power, even if it is God or not. But yes, if you do that, if you have a good heart and just log in, you'll do good for sure.
So
Thank you
thank you
so much.
so much, Aryan. I believe you had some plans today, and but
Yes, yes.
then you're going to squeeze some time for us. And thank you very much. And I wish you all the best, all the luck. I'm sure and
Great.
110% sure that you're going to be an amazing lawyer. And for meanwhile, best of luck for your NLU Delhi's journey with the LLM.
Sure. I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for the platform. I hope that someone gets some help in any way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.